Some time ago, I went to the grocery store to pick up sticky notes, and I happened to see this. This thing is called a cribbage board. I've never played this game before. It's called cribbage, but as soon as I saw it, I knew it had potential, and it was only $8, so I thought, what the hell, and I picked it up. The cribbage board is a wooden board which has all these little holes in it, and it comes with these pegs. There's 120 holes per track, and there's 3 tracks. In my view, this is the best habit tracking system that exists. But the key part is, how do you use it? So let's get into that right now. Every time I do a behavior which I want to be consistent with, for example, meditation, I will take a peg and I will put it into the hole. So for me, this white track is the meditation track. So I'll take a white peg and put it into the hole as soon as I do a session of meditation. Now this part is very important, so I want you to pay attention. What I don't do, I do not leave an empty hole during the days which I miss meditation. In other words, there is no streak. There is no penalty for missing a day. Now let me make sure I get this crystal clear. It means that there's no way to go backwards or reset the progress. The progress can only ever increase. Every time I do a meditation session, the number of pegs increases. There are no gaps for days which I've missed, and there's no way to reset the board until you finish out the entire board. Most habit tracking feels like building a Jenga tower. As soon as you make a mistake, the whole thing comes crashing down and you're reset to 0. You've broken your streak. As long as you have the streak going, yes, it feels motivating, but the thing is, life happens. You might be called to the airport because you have to pick up a family member. You might have a friend's wedding to attend to. You might just fall sick. You might get injured, or you might just have a bad day, which is something which happens to all of us. And as soon as you have that one day where things aren't perfect and your habit streak is broken, well, your Jenga tower comes crashing down and it no longer feels rewarding. So very soon, this process of building up good habits feels punishing. It feels unrewarding. This is what's called a punishment-based behavior change system. We don't want to do this anymore. Most of our life is governed by punishment systems. A lot of parenting is punishment-based systems. The whole schooling system is based on punishments. And that's why I want to show you a different way, a better way. This is an example of a reward-based behavior change system. This is in direct opposition to the old punishment-based behavior change systems. So the question is, well, what's the rewards? The cool thing about the cribbage board is it comes pre-segmented in groups of 5. So every time I fill up an entire block of 5, I get a reward. So now what's the reward? Now this is going to be different for different people, of course, but for me, this is what I do. I'll take an entire afternoon off to go to the beach, or I will take an afternoon off to go get a professional massage, or I will just take an afternoon off to get a croissant and coffee. These are things which I find valuable. You might find different things valuable. Maybe you like playing video games. In that case, play video games. Just finish out a block of 5 before you do. That way the entire session of playing the video games feels way more fun and rewarding. You don't feel guilty for indulging in video games. Rather, you feel rewarded because you did the right thing. You did the behaviors which are conducive to your long-term success. So what happens when you finish out the entire cribbage board, when you completed the entire path and ended at the finish line? Well, in that case, you should absolutely give yourself a big reward, whatever that means to you. For me, I like travel and vacations, and I've always wanted to go to the city of San Diego just to explore it, see what's going on. And so when I finish out this entire track, guess where I'm going to go? All this comes from the TBR model of behavior change: trigger, behavior, and reward. Here's the major concept. When you want to build a behavior, you build the trigger and the reward. The behavior that you want to sustain, it's a layer which are supported by the pillars of trigger and reward. In other words, if you aren't doing a behavior that you said you wanted to do, it means that the trigger is too soft or the reward is not rewarding enough. Now, I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into this tool such that you can use it to improve your life. So when I was young, I used to play this game called The Witcher 3, and it was a fantastic game. I spent so many hours on it, and I don't regret a single one. One of the aspects of the game was the heads-up display. Now, it's not only Witcher which has this. A lot of action games will have this. It's the health bar. So before you go into a boss fight, what do? Well, you got to replenish your health bar, you got to upgrade your magic, you got to upgrade your weapons, right? This cribbage board is essentially my heads-up display. Let me explain. The red track is my health bar, the white track is my magic bar, and the blue track is my weapon strength. And that's what I correspond the behaviors to. The red bar corresponds to exercise, the white one is meditation, and the blue one is journaling. I see these 3 behaviors of exercise, meditation, and journaling as kind of the master habits, the trident. If I just do these 3 master behaviors, everything else flows. When I was younger, I used to obsess about habit tracking. I used to have like 8 different habits which I was trying to track, and it just became a mess. Now, If that works for you, just keep doing whatever works. I'm just saying what works for me, which is I just simplified to 3 master habits. If I just did these, everything else kind of follows. So I don't even have to track them, but I do need to track these. Now that brings up an interesting question. What's the point? What are we trying to do here? Why are we tracking anything? What's the point of any of this? And the answer behind that is that we all want to do work that feels like play. But in order to do work which feels like play, you gotta be on it. They say that discipline equals freedom. Well, freedom to do what? In my view, it's freedom to express your creative potential. Now, this feels a little bit vague. I totally get it. So I'm going to give you a concrete example of exactly what I'm doing so that you can just copy. When I was younger, I watched this movie called Troy, and it was the one where Brad Pitt plays Achilles. And I thought this movie was fantastic. I watched it on repeat. I loved the costumes. I loved the action. I loved the dialogues and speeches and the fights. The city of Troy looked so real with its massive walls. And so as an adult, I picked up Homer's Iliad and I read this. And I found this fascinating as well. I was completely immersed in this world. But there was a massive difference between the movie and the book. There's an entire character, a major character, in the book that's completely cut out from the movies. And his name is Diomedes. And if you look up Diomedes on the internet, you'll find the AI literally says Diomedes is one of the greatest yet often overlooked heroes in Greek mythology. And that's absolutely the case. But the question is why? Everybody's heard the name Achilles, everybody's heard the name Odysseus, but nobody's heard the name Diomedes. This is because as soon as the Trojan War ended, the world ended with it. All the major empires of the day, all the major empires surrounding the Mediterranean, the Canaanites, the Egyptians, the Assyrians, the Hittites, Mycenaean Greeks, of course, all of them flickered and died out within few years of each other. And till this day, historians even don't know exactly what happened. The more I explored, the more fascinated I became. And I have this idea for a novel-length story set in this Bronze Age collapse. And I want to make this a reality. And that's exactly why I've rented this small 6x4 broom cupboard of a space to work in. And that is also why I have systems like this in order to support the work. The point of the tracking isn't the tracking. The point of the tracking is to free up mental bandwidth, to give me the freedom to pursue the creative art. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm giving you the tools and the documentation, the step-by-step stuff which I'm doing, which is working for me, so that you can do what I'm doing or exceed me. My mission here is to inspire you to create your own creative projects, but also to give you the tools to make it more successful. So with that, boys and girls, I'm going to close this video out, but I'm going to divert your attention to this, what I'm wearing right now, this watch. It's not a watch, it's something special. And this is just like the cribbage board, a brand new system which I've just happened to discover, which just absolutely changes the nature of work. Work goes from feeling like something to avoid to something that feels rewarding and fun. So if you thought this video was valuable, then I'm going to have the tile pop up for the video which is dedicated to this device. Watch this now and use these tools to transform your day-to-day life. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.